Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. This is Sticks and today it's time. I've been putting it off, but I'm finally going to fill the first page of my illo sketchbook. So I hope you'll join me and have some fun as I make my mark on this first page and hope I don't mess it up. I've been putting it off for a while because I was intimidated, but I really want to get this done today and start my sketchbook off right. But first things first, let's get a sticker on our front page here. Since I'm working in my sketchbook, I get to reward myself. And I think this time I will use this Gray Legs sticker by Dina Norland. Yes. I did do some little thumbnails of what I thought would work for the first page. And this might be a mixed media kind of thing because I'd really love to do some super fun line work, but also maybe try some watercolors or gouache or markers. I have already sketched on the page behind it, but I'm not too attached to any of those things. So I won't mind if the marker kind of bleeds through. So I guess the first thing to do is start with the sketch A. So I'm just using my little tiny ruler here to mark off a boundary for the border. Okay, I think I like how the one here kind of overlaps and goes outside that boundary, so we're gonna start with that part because at least I know what I'm doing there. Okay, now I'm going to use my eraser to lighten this up a little bit, and I think I'm going to go ahead and line the one because I know that it's where I want it and I can have that solid line to start me off. Okay, and considering I really want this to take center stage and be really bold, I might even go around that with my brush pen. I'm super nervous about that because I don't have very good control when it comes to brush pens, but I'd really like to get that thicker line, so let's see how it goes. This brush pen is actually pretty nice to use. I'm definitely not the best with it because, as I said, my hands are shaky and I don't do a good job of making straight lines. But I did want a very chunky, kind of irregular look for this, so it's okay for this part. But the brush pen is really good quality. It's the Fineliner Graphics from Marabou, and I got it in Jazz's art box. Okay, I think I'm going to leave this whole area for the illustration, and maybe put the lettering up in the border that I left. And that will help frame the illustration and balance the big one. At least that's my hope. Okay, I've sketched out my letters. Now I guess the only thing left to do is sketch out the character. And I'm not sure if you can even see this since I'm sketching so light. I'm a little worried that this color erase pencil won't erase all the way. So I'm trying to be very light with it, and at the moment I'm just trying to get down the basics of where I want the character to be. So I think I'm going to get this sketched out and then come back to you once I'm done with the sketch. Okay, I am pretty happy with the sketch now. I feel like it's more balanced, and I like that these two characters also break the border like everything else. I feel like that kind of brings it all into cohesion. So it might be time to start lining now, and I'm kind of freaking out about it. Okay, it's time to get to lining. I'm super nervous. I think I'll start off with the lightest liner first, and then I can thicken some parts up. That is my plan. So this is a 0.2.
Clouds and thunders standing in my way. I must try to figure it out anyway. Songs of worries must try to figure it out alone. Yeah, I must try to figure it out alone. And now, ooh, when you're gone, ooh, I know things won't be the same no more, I'm sure. It'll take a while 'cause I'm still sore, yeah, now. Ooh, when you're gone, ooh, I know I still have a long way to walk, I'm sure. It'll take a while to reach the golden shore. Walls and mountains standing in my way, but I must try to figure it out anyway. Tales of worries travel with the storm, but I must try to figure it out alone. Yeah, I must try to figure it out alone. And now, ooh, when you're gone, ooh, I know things won't be the same no more, I'm sure. It'll take a while 'cause I'm still sore, yeah, now. Ooh, when you're gone, ooh, I know I still have a long way to walk, I'm sure. It'll take a while to reach the golden shore.
I'm gonna be the first to admit I'm not the best at lining. Well, at least traditionally. I love lining digitally. And I get super into it because it's so relaxing. But I get shaky when I'm doing it traditionally. So that's kind of something I want to work on. Because lines can make such a difference in the piece, for sure. I feel like this is going to take me a long time because I am very much going slow, but that's okay. I know I'll look back at this at some point and be like, ugh, that's so awful. You can do so much better now. And I'm excited for that day to come. I actually feel like his whole hat needs to move now that I'm lining it. And that makes me a little nervous. But I think it'll turn out better. So I'm going to do it. So unfortunately, I really messed up his thumb here. It could be worse, and I feel like it will be if I mess with it more, so I'm just going to leave it. But that was disappointing. I'm not sure what possessed me to do stripes on his shirt. I don't know why I thought that would be a good plan. It definitely doesn't make it easy. But I'm doing my darndest. Wouldn't want to make things easy on myself now, would I? No, we're going to go all out with this. And in case you were wondering, I am definitely counting on the color to help make this piece somewhat successful. Hopefully I can do that with maybe some markers, some colored pencils. I recently purchased a 50-pack of Crayola colored pencils because I didn't actually have a whole set of colored pencils that I could use for illustrations that had enough colors, you know what I mean? I had 12, but it's really hard to mix them when you're trying to put them over markers already, because the paper will only take so much, you know. Well, if nothing else, I am definitely having fun with this. I haven't really done a full scene traditionally in a long time, so this is fun. I do believe I'm going to go around the outside of the character with a darker black line just to make him stand out, or possibly a white line after I get done coloring. That will hopefully help the background fade into the background. We'll see. I'm debating whether I should put a black line for the background. I'm thinking I should. I'm going to do that, outlining the background, I mean. I'm going to do that with the thick boy here. And I'm going to have to turn my sketchbook a little bit. And I'm not going to use the ruler. I'm just going to follow the line that I had previously made with the ruler, because I don't want it to look too uniform. And I'm going to wait to do the bottom until I've drawn our puppy. It's a very floofy dog. Okay. I think everything is lined except this last line here and the text. And now that that's the case, I'm going to go around the outside of the character with my biggest liner. This should both help hide any mistakes I made and separate the characters from the background. Well, that helped me fix the thumb a little bit. It looks slightly better. I'll take it. In case you're curious, I am counting this as sketchbook number 1, even though I have done some sketchbooks in the past that I recently showed off. Those were back in like high school, college, and so this is the first time I'm trying to fill a sketchbook since I started focusing on art again several years ago. That was all digital, and now I'm trying to get back into the swing of some traditional art. So I'm kind of starting fresh with this new sketchbook. Okay, I'm going to use my 0.4 for the welcome to part. Turn in this babe again. And I think I might try to make it a bit smaller than what I have here, because I think it's going to run into the line and just look weird, so we'll see how it goes. Well, I hate how this turned out, the T, but everything else looks good and I can ignore that. So I am going to let this line art dry, and then I'm going to come back in and erase my sketch, and then I can start coloring. I'm super excited. I really like how it's turned out so far.
I must try to figure it out alone. Yeah, I must try to figure it out alone.
Okay, lines are dry, sketch is erased, and it's time to work on some color. I'm a bit nervous, but what I think I'm going to do is use Copics. A very nice friend of mine named Disa sent me her 72 Copic marker set because she said she never used it, and I'm super excited to finally try them out. I've had them for a while now, but I've wanted to use them on something special, and this is it, I think. And so here's all the colors I have, and I might mix them with maybe my Studio 71s or my Ohuhus if I'm looking for a particular color. But yeah, I'm really excited to try these out and see what I can do with this illustration. And then on top of the Copics, I might do some colored pencils to bring out some texture. I'm tempted to do kind of a single palette with the background to make it more simple and put most of the color in the character. So what I would do then is probably just start with the shading for the background, and I think I'm going to start with this B41 light blue for the shading since it's snow. So let's try that. I'd also like to do kind of a gradient for the sky, so I might start with that and do the blue into this cool gray number 0. So let's start there and see what we can do. I love working with markers. Ever since I tried them for the very first time, it just felt really nice, and I'm excited to be able to try illustrations with Copics because I know that they're supposed to be kind of the top of the line. And I'm curious to see how much different it'll feel using them versus the Ohuhus and Studio 71s that I've used in the past. And the Spectrum Noir ones also. I've used some Copics for skin tones because that's all I had. And I really do like the way they feel. So okay, I'm going to stop there with the blue and do some with the light gray just to give that a blended look. This paper isn't made for markers, so I'm not expecting miracles here, but so far I'm pleased with how it is looking. Looks like I missed erasing some of this, so I'm going to try to add some separation between the snowbanks here by adding some blue and fading it up. And apparently my liner is either not dry or it doesn't mix with markers, which is interesting because I've used it with markers before and it was fine. But hey, luckily it's only in one little spot there. Okay, now I think the trees need a bit of a drop shadow, so I'm gonna go with maybe B45 because it's the next darker color. That blends pretty nicely. I'll put some more of this dark blue down here to really bring home that this is the foreground, and it's blending pretty well on my paper here. Pretty happy about that, even though, like I said, it's definitely not marker paper. It's pretty amazing how well that's blending, actually. I'm not being too clean and concise with the shading for the trees here because I mostly just want to give the impression, and I'm hoping they look like they have snow on them. I'm actually okay with this for the background because I'm not great at backgrounds. And I'm pretty happy with how it looks, so I'm going to move on to the characters. And I think the first thing I'm actually going to do is a layer of shading with this same blue to tie everything together. And that way all the colors I put on top will incorporate that shading color. Incidentally, don't take my word for it on these things because I don't actually have much experience with marker illustration, so I could be doing this completely wrong, but I'm just having fun and exploring these new tools. Right now I'm really kind of enjoying this monochromatic look we're getting. So I did get the idea of doing an introduction page in my sketchbook from Drawing with Waffles. Do any of you do an introduction page in your sketchbooks? I really like the idea. I feel like it helps to bring the audience in and let them know what to expect. And it's a nice thing to look at when you first open a sketchbook. Instead of just something random, you are greeted by a message that says, "Welcome to my sketchbook." I don't know. I'm thinking his undershirt, the stripy one, would be cute if it was like a gray sweater. And then maybe this vest could be like a bright orange. Like, I'm thinking Marty in Back to the Future. He has his bright orange vest. I don't know why that appeals to me, but it does. And what I'm hoping is that the colors that I put on top of this will just kind of meld with it, and this will be a nice shading tone, and the colors will incorporate it. I need to find a name for these two because I'm really enjoying them as characters. I don't know necessarily what I'd use them in or for, but I feel like they deserve names. Do you guys have any name suggestions? I really like Scott for the boy. I'm not sure why that's coming to mind, but it is. And his dog is kind of maybe a husky mix. Maybe some wolf in there. Ooh. I used to have a half wolf, half Malamute dog that we named Lobo. But I think this is a girl, and Lobo just means wolf, and it's kind of not super creative. So I would prefer some other name for this beauty. So if any of you have suggestions, leave those down below and I will look at them. Okay, everything is shaded. Now let's work on some colors. So how dark do we want his shirt to be? I'm thinking N3 would be the nicest. So let's find N3 and just see how this goes. Ooh, that's a nice squeaky one. But it does seem to be mixing with the blue shading, so I'm glad that's working out. Kind of the way I planned. This is all experimentation, but hey, that's what sketchbooks are for, right? Now, if I need darker shading, I can always come back in with the darker blue here, or even a blue-gray to mix the two colors. We'll see. Let's find an orange maybe for his jacket. I don't know if I like either of these two oranges, because this one might be too reddish and this one might be too yellowish. Let's see if we have anything in Ohuhu. Got the orange and the marigold. I'm kind of liking the marigold. I think that might work, so let me find that one. Okay, here we go. Oh wow, so just having switched from the Copics to these, I can definitely tell a difference in the brush nib. Like it's much less flexible, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's different. I really like that color though. I think that works perfectly for what we want. Man, I am really enjoying this. You know, I should have checked to make sure it's not, yeah, it's not moving onto this page, and that's all I was worried about. It did a little bit right there, but this is just a practice page anyway. And it's definitely making some interesting see-through marks over here, but I knew that was going to happen, and I don't mind that at all. Okay, I'm going to use the same orange to put the stripes on his pants here. I think his pants are going to be like a dark gray, and maybe his hat could be a dark gray with some orange stripes. So let's do some orange stripes. These stripes are probably not in the right place, but I also don't care too much. Should the poof be orange or should it be gray? I'm not sure. Let's go fill in with the gray, because I'm also thinking of doing the band around the front like a darker gray to match his pants, and maybe that would be a good color for this part. Kind of thinking I should actually line that. Might stand out a little bit better. I think I'm going to. We can go back in after the fact and change our mind, can't we? Yes, we can. Okay. Not bad. Now, for pants, let's do... Oof, I don't think I want to go this dark. Let's do the slightly bluer version of this one. So C8. That one might require some darker shading for sure. Oh, that's cute. Okay. Let's do the band around his head for his hat. And yeah, I'm thinking I would like the dark for the poof. Hopefully the lines will still show up okay. Actually, maybe I should start with the lighter gray and then go ahead and smooth it out blend it into the darker gray towards the bottom so you can see some of the highlights. I think that'll work. Of course, this is a much darker gray, so I don't actually know if they're gonna blend okay. If they don't, I guess I can just color it all dark gray and it's not gonna matter. Oh, actually, it's not bad. They blend pretty well. Guess I shouldn't be surprised. Just pleased. Okay. His clothes are done. Now let's look at his skin. This whole thing is kind of desaturated with the blues, so I'm kind of thinking the E40 and E41 range, because if I went too pink, it would look weird next to everything else. So let's start with E40. I'm definitely going to want to put a little pink in his cheeks, though, because he's out there, it's cold. He'll probably have a pink nose. And I can probably do some of that with my colored pencils, but let's see if I have a good pink that would work. Ooh, maybe this R20. Yeah, I think the R20 would be best. If we can blend it out a little bit. Oh, yes. That's adorable. Ooh, some on the tip of his ear. Gotta do that. And I usually do some on the tips of the fingers. Show that the blood is moving there. Cute. Alright, now he just needs a hair color. What would be a good hair color? Maybe he could be a blondie. We could do E55. I think that would actually be cute. We'll start with the one color and then we'll come back in and shade if we need to. Some darker. He's already got some shading in there with the blue. Okay. Ooh, that's cute. I think E35 would be a cute little shading color too. Just make it slightly darker. Thank you, kitty. Excuse you. Okay, let's blend that out a little bit. Oh, I love it. All right, what color should his eyes be? I'm thinking like a dark brown. What do you think, Gwynnie? If that's the case, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the E35 and then add some darker brown with E39. Cute. Okay, for his tongue, I'm gonna do E4. Okay, now on to our dog friend. Well, I know the nose is gonna be dark, so let's start there. And now I'm gonna go ahead and look up some references for huskies and see where we should put our friend's markings here. Oh, she should probably have the same tongue color, huh? Yeah, let's do that. Ooh, all right, so let's take probably that same dark gray. And I think they have like a dark back also. This is kind of her back because she's turning her head to look back up at her friend. So I'm going to add a little bit more color into his skin because it looks maybe a little bit too lifeless. So I'm adding in some E00. This one's getting too wet. Oh, it did it again. Don't mind me, I'm just going to use my shirt to dab that up. I am not prepared. Okay, let's go back to the E40 and blend that out a little. Okay, I think we're going to wait one more time for all this to dry. And then I'm going to come back in with some colored pencils and add a little detail. Okay, after having let this dry for a while, I was going to come back and do some colored pencil work, but looking at it, I actually think it needs something around this outer edge to kind of tie everything in and frame it. And I'm thinking the best way to do that is to use this lightest color of his hair and go around the outside edge. And then maybe I can use colored pencils to add like a wood texture if I feel like it needs it. So I think we could do E55 around the outside. Let's do that. I'm going to use the chisel nib because I never do that. But I've heard it's a good way to get an even looking texture. So let's try it. For some reason it feels uncomfortable to use the chisel tip. I'm not sure why. I guess it's the angle. I don't know. But I like that better already. It's bringing everything in. I'm just hoping that it does okay over the letters. So I'm going to try down here first. Yeah, it seems to be doing all right. Yep. Okay. Good. It's the brush marker that I used for the one that does not like the alcohol markers. I'm not sure why that is, but I'm going to try and be extra careful around that part of it. It hurts a little to do this because I'm kind of feeling like it might be a waste of ink, but hopefully it's worth it in that it brings the image together like I want it to. I really like the vibe already. It's not so much white space, which was really bothering me. And I think it'll look more finished. I'm going to use my brush for the last few bits of this. Get in around these little sharp corners. Alrighty. I definitely prefer that look. And I'm not sure if I'm ever going to do anything with the one. I kind of like it white. And that's also going to be where I write, you know, when the sketchbook was started and eventually, hopefully, when it was finished. Alright, I think it's time to break out the colored pencils and see what we can do with some texture. I have this 50 set that I just got, and I'm excited to try them. By the way, I'm really sorry about my shaky table. It's not actually attached to anything. It's just a freestanding table, so it tends to wiggle. So for now, I'm just kind of grabbing colors as I see them and think they would work, and I'm just putting them where I think there needs to be a little extra something something. I made a mistake here with his ear. I wish I hadn't, but I'm not sure there's anything I could do about it now. I put the dark gray in because I thought it would make a nice dark color there where the dark of the ear is, but it it didn't smudge right, and yeah. You know, I know Crayola are not the leading brand in colored pencils, but these were $7, I think, for 50. And since I don't have any other sets, I thought that would not be a bad deal. At least it's something. I actually don't mind that jacked up wood texture. Okay, I'm gonna try and get a little more redness in his skin. I'm going to darken up this whole area just because the jacket would be casting some shadow there, so I'm just lightly darkening it. Okay, and with that, I think we can add some finishing touches with the white gel pen. Okay, now according to the last time I drew in this, which was pretty much the first time, this sketchbook was started in July. So I'm gonna go ahead and write that here. And then that way, once I finish it, I can add the date there of when it was finished. Well, everybody, what do you think? I had a great time working on this, and I'm happily surprised with how well it turned out, considering. So, yeah, I'm sorry now that I waited so long to do this, but in the future, I'll know that it's no big deal, and hopefully the next one I do will be even better. Thank you so much for coming along with me today as we worked on that project. I hope to see you next week for my next art video. Bye, everyone!